G'day everyone, and welcome to the first round of the RPRI series, here in Melbourne for the Strayan Grand Prix. What's RPRI, you may ask? Well, think of it like the Grand Prix World Series, but different. I'm here with Ryan Ferris, who will be my co-commentator for this upcoming race. But first, let's have a look over the teams and drivers for this upcoming season. At first, we have BAR Aura with William Share and Paddle Ward. Team manager is Louis Bassett. Next up is Jordan Chevrolet with Felix Rosenquist and Nick Cassidy. Then it's Ed Spencer with RRML, who has the driver Michael Schumacher and Tom Christensen. Johan Gale has South New Honda. His drivers are Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Lowe. They've got a lot next with Taylor Hill and Oscar Piastri as his drivers. My fellow co-commentators team, Lotus Baguette, as Fernando Alonso and Rafael Marcello. Michael Westby with the McLaren Mercedes. His drivers are Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc. Brandon Microprose as Ridus VK and Kevin Magnussen. Oh yeah, Milan Mercedes with all finish liners is Hakkinen and Raikkonen. Then is Sam Hall with Tyrrell Ford, Shane Magnus and Max Verstappen. Finally, we have Cynthia Ford, with Russell and Seb Vettel as the drivers. That, all the way, there's only a few moments till we go racing. And before that, let's have a recap over what happened during the qualifying session. It was a dry session with the top 8 drivers separated by a 10th, and the entire field were only separated by 3 tenths. But we have Lando Norris on pole, Piastri second, with Cassidy and Hill in the second row, and Hamilton and Russell at third row, and what? Right, where's have a drivers today? Let's have a quick look over the fuel strategies. Seems like most of them are on two-stop strategies, but there are a few one-stoppers. So, Ryan, how do you feel about this?
Well, they've just gone away for the start, and it looks to be Norris hasn't had the best of starts as he lost the lead into the first corner, but he's going back around the outside to retake the lead. There's a little bit of jockeying for position into turn 1. Very slowly crawling through turn 1. As we are on board with one of the Renaults.
That's Magnussen, I believe. Like that. Is he trying to make a move? And he doesn't. They get to Jordan as not quite. Right, let's see this. Oh, Lando Norris has taken back the lead. Piastri second, and there's contact between Christensen and is that Leclerc? I think that's Leclerc. Looks like they kept the engine going and no damage has been done. What on earth happened?
So we had a fairly clean first few corners, but as we entered the second sector, quite a large accident. And that's another one of the McLarens.
It's the same McLaren. I think McLaren must have spun out after hitting. Has he got a concussion or something? I don't know. He finally managed to pull away.
But back at the front, it's still Norris leading. He's actually managed to pull out a fairly decent gap. More contact, that looks to be a BAR.
Yep. I think that's so share. That was the share, I believe.
I think that's actually is that O'Ward? Is it? in the car?
I think it's Pichette. I'm not sure.
Well, Pichet's second.
No, it's Piastri.
Piastri, okay.
As you see, Marcello, can he make a save? Yes, he did.
That is one of the lots of trouble usually serious cars going through.
Oh yeah, with that experimental baguette engine.
It's just insert typical French engine here sort of scenario.
Oh right, yeah. So, Norris, Piastri, and Cassidy in the top three. And there's also, I think the AR has Aura engines. To my knowledge, they do not have any previous experience with internal combustion, so how do you think they will get along?
It would be interesting to see. Just then we just saw Sebastian Vettel having to go around the outside. It didn't quite stick on one of the, looked to be one of the Jordans as we go to Damon Hill in the Onyx. Going through these last few corners. But still, it is Norris leading. He's just at the fastest lap of the race. And that is quite some comfortable margin. Over 2 seconds over Piastri and Nick Cassidy. That's some...
It's quite a late launch for the Brabham on Loeb, I believe.
Indeed, yes. And Loeb starting to be a little bit of a roadblock for that. And forming a bit of a train in the early stages of this Grand Prix. That's another move from one of the Lotuses. That's Alonso that's going through there.
Also one of the VARs. And we jump back to Verstappen, who is surprisingly low down in the field.
Yeah. In the Batmobile Tyrrell, I believe, isn't it?
Yep. And
yeah, struggling down there. Obviously, he's not completely down the back because we have got the McLaren of was it Leclerc and one of the other cars down the back there.
Yes. As we see Cassidy slowly but surely trying to chase down Piastri. I know some rumors that the team principal of Matt Gopher made the engine deal while he was in USA. Did you believe in that? Or did you know that?
No, I didn't. But again, meanwhile, Norris.
Still leading at the front.
Yeah, and the gap between the Onyx and Cassidy is coming down as that's another move that's coming into turn one.
Schumacher, I believe. What? Isn't it nice to see him back in the car after that horrific accident he had?
Yeah. It's definitely great to see this back, and just looking through, that's one of the Renaults. There's a Tyrrell just going around the outside in the background.
Is he going around the outside? Not quite. But he tried to make a move for it. I think it was one of the Canaris tried to make a move on the Rosenquist. As Lando is still leading with a 2.4 second gap to Oscar Piastri.
Indeed, and that's Raffaele Marcello having a go on one of the Brabhams through that chicane section. Piastri is actually managing to pull away as well from the chasing Jordan, and that's a move inside for one of the Renaults on the Minardi. But does it go into work?
Still side by side, I believe. Or as the TV director cuts off to a rear view shot of Piastri's car. Brilliant.
Yeah, and the gap was coming down earlier between Cassidy and Piastri, and that's a mistake for Alonso into the first corner.
Looks like he just locked up. running wide.
Indeed. And so that has put onto the back end of Alonso. That is one of the BARs.
And he's capitalizing his mistake now. It's a rare mistake for the veteran.
Yeah, currently being outperformed by his younger teammate of Marcello.
As we see, Norris still leading by... Is it 3 seconds now?
It looks to be, and this is another move from one of the BARs. That's...
Sure. Now I got it correctly.
Yeah. So Paul Chair is up another position.
I think it walked up. Oh.
Yeah, that seems...
Yeah, it should be taken out by the Batmobile Tyrrell.
The Batmobile Tyrrell, who's also under pressure from that looks to be one of the Minardis.
Oh yeah, I think it's right. Yeah, so that Batmobile Tyrrell thingy is in a bit of a Minardi sandwich.
Indeed. And any particular reason for the Batmobile livery this season?
Not really. The team principal made, to my knowledge, made it. Wanted to run it all that way. I suppose no sponsors whatsoever. Well, you could say he's sponsored by the team.
I'm assuming well, they haven't signed DC, so they've had DC as the sponsor.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a very late lunch.
And that's Alonso taking the position back from Porsche.
The dumb wheel. Oh, here's a replay from earlier of the race. Now watch. Oh, he popped the wheel while crashing.
So that was Leclerc going into the back of Christensen, was it?
Yep. He tried to go for a gap on the outside, but misjudged. I'm surprised none of them got damaged.
Well, they must be built of some strong stuff in this championship.
Apparently. I think the regulations said that each monocoque must be built in 100% of titanium carbon fiber, as we saw some smoke from, I believe, Norris's car. Was he locking up, or...?
Well, I'd hope it's a lock-up. We need to
no.
move on. No, it isn't!
It's an engine failure! Oh, this is disaster for McLaren. Oh,
As
no.
Norris out of the race. He had such a commanding lead and already out with a few laps into this Grand Prix.
Confirmed engine failure. Looks like the pre-season testing was is still hunting them in the real race. I say that because apparently they wanted to paint the car silver and grey, or is it silver and black? The West sponsor, but they ran out of money, so they couldn't afford the silver and black paint job, so they had to stick with orange.
So still running with the test car, obviously, and Norris again on his attempts to getting a Grand Prix win, snatched away from him
again. There's some good close racing between also the field.
So this is Schumacher in the Brabham, I believe, that we were just looking at.
Yeah. That is, with Norris retiring, that has put George Russell into third place with Sintech. Not every day we would hear that, as we look at Paddle Ward trying to make a move on the Batman 2 of, I believe, is Isberger?
I couldn't quite see, but yeah. So Piastri now leading the Grand Prix from Cassidy. And he now has quite a nice cushion of an advantage and starting to get into the rhythm. Obviously, earlier we saw Cassidy was closing back in on what is now the leader. But it seems Piastri's managed to find a little bit more pace. He's got into his stride and is now comfortably leading this Grand Prix.
Sure. We'll see how but it's still early days, so to say. There's a long way to go. We haven't even gotten to the first round of pit stop yet.
Indeed, and obviously, as you said, most of the teams are looking to be running a two-stop strategy this race.
Yeah. I think I saw the Onyx team is running a one-stop, so we'll see if that's the case. And if so, that could turn this race very interesting.
Indeed, obviously, it could shake things up, but it is quite a long race in very hot conditions. So it'll be interesting to see how they manage to pull off that one-stop strategy.
Again, as mentioned earlier, there is no rain on the radar for this entire race. So it'll be a hot summer day for all the bystanders, as we see Hackman trying to make a move, going inside, outside, and doesn't.
No, and the Renault just ahead manages to hold on for a little bit longer as we go on board with George Russell, hunting down Nick Cassidy.
Who's in turn hunting down Oscar Piastri.
Indeed.
Still fairly even between the top three as can he make it stick this time? No, not quite.
Hackman will be getting very frustrated now because that little chasing group with the Tyrrell bit behind is now starting to close. And almost a lead 3 in the same shot just then.
I saw my fellow expert commenting, how is this track? Is it hard to overtake?
Well, there doesn't seem to be too many, at least in the second half of the course, there aren't as many opportunities to overtake, really. There are potentially 3 to 4 opportunities to overtake, but it's just a matter of who wants to be the do or die late on the brakes. First corner, as we've seen, very good opportunity, as we see now. The Minardi up the inside of the Tyrrell, it doesn't quite work out though, and that's actually putting him under attack by the BAR now. So Pato Award having a look on the Minardi, but
Shuts the door in that beautiful old booth 555 BAR. I don't know how to pronounce it.
that's a move going on. What's going on here? That's Magnussen up the inside of Rosenquist. Rosenquist got a problem. He's going slow.
Yeah. Oh no, that's terrible for the team manager. And look at that. He's a bit of a rolling roadblock now. Can he make it back to the pits or not? We'll see. We'll see. As he's getting swarmed. Absolutely stomped by every other driver. He's like, get on the way. What are you trying to do? A 40?
In the meantime, we got Award on the back end of Raikkonen.
As the TV director again rudely cut off to the race to the second place, and that's it.
And Cassidy looking like he may be making a few inroads into that lead. It seems to be fairly equal between all 3 of the top 3. Indeed, and very lucky because he had quite a long way of the track to try and make it and limp it back to the pits, but he managed to do so as we look towards Pato O'Ward, who's managed to get back in front of Kimi Raikkonen.
As one man once said, you're right there, right?
We look to Van Gisbergen for a moment there in the Tyrrell, making his effectively a Formula One debut in a race.
Quite a many debutants in this race, and I have to say, most of them are really kicking their teammates, more experienced teammates' ass, quite honestly.
Indeed, and it looks like Piastri's pulling that gap out a bit more. He's responding to Cassidy in the Jordan. And we look to George Russell. Russell actually is starting to catch the Jordan a little bit, only little by little, a tenth here and there.
Well, every 10th counts.
And he's got Lewis Hamilton hunting him down behind.
I wonder if Cassidy is starting to think, strategize of doing an undercut if George is going to keep, going back tenths and tenths, like you said.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how strong the undercut is here. Obviously, that gap is quite large between the two leaders, and so I wouldn't have thought an undercut. Well, if one pitted and the other pitted a lap later, I don't think it would be close, but I don't think Cassidy would manage to get the position back. So I think he needs to close that gap a little bit more in order for the undercut to work.
What is going on? I had this paper of reserve drivers which the production forgot to include. And I will know about Superior has Jake Dennis as the reserve driver, Topher has René Ross as the reserve driver, and Spencer Brabham has John Alacer, Gillian Gale has Joseph Newgarden, Dave Goddard has Matt Green as his reserve driver, and you, my fellow commentator, I think you got Jensen Bottom as your reserve driver. Is that correct? And why did you pick it?
Well, he's actually, I feel like Button's quite an underrated driver. He came into the sport at a very young age of 20 years old after only really spending a season in Formula 4, a season in Formula 3, and then just jumping straight into Formula 1. So he's always had the talent, but not always the car. But when he has had the car, he's been quite impressive, outperforming the likes of Hamilton as a teammate, obviously ex-world champion as well. So very, very, reliable set of hands to have as a reserve driver.
Indeed, and speaking of beating Hamilton in equal machinery, Jack with Minardi has Nico Rosberg as their reserve driver, and there's also, Michael Espy has Super GT, also known as Alex Albon, as we see. Is that Michael who locked up? No, that's Christensen who locked up.
Yeah, and he's got the remaining McLaren, recovering McLaren that is, of Leclerc up the inside as a result.
He is really driving the pants off that car after that incident. He must be really thinking that he's stupid after making contact with him earlier.
Indeed, and with that pace that he's showing at the moment, he definitely could have been a race winning contender for this race. As up the inside goes Raffaele Marcello, and a very, very forceful move into turn 3.
Very aggressive, all showing off the track, but what I've heard from the sporting regulations, they aren't such a thing as time penalties yet. But we'll see for the future if that might be the case or not. Have you ever tried to run the wall in that long straight over this track.
I wouldn't recommend it.
As we just heard Nathan Hill do it.
Well, he's managed to carry on. Like we said earlier, these cars must be made of some pretty tough stuff. But only a light glance with the barrier just there.
Yeah, I was asking because Danilo Savino has got Ross Chastain as their reserve driver, and who I think will be doing that a lot.
It's highly likely, yeah.
Yeah. And 04 has got McLaughlin.
Scotty McLaughlin.
Thank you.
There you go.
As there, and finally GC Syntec Ford has gotten Alex Pelot.
Yeah, and obviously Pelot, a very again another strong contender, 2 times IndyCar IndyCar champion now, and you know he's knocking on the door of maybe, just maybe, having a sniff of Formula One at some point in his career.
But when will it come, do you think? When will his time come?
It all depends, really. Obviously, super license points is the buzzwords nowadays, and there's been quite a lot of drivers within the IndyCar series quite vocal over the fact that they feel that the series is overlooked by the FIA and super license point system. As well, it used to be back in the day. Williams used to use IndyCar as kind of like a go-to for some of their drivers. You know, they had Jacques Villeneuve and Juan Pablo Montoya both come from IndyCar to race for them.
Both being quite successful.
Indeed.
Cassidy is still in second. I think the field of the cars has started to spread out now. So they're just traveling along with patiently waiting for their, what's it called, pit stop.
So Marcello, to be honest, actually, both Lotuses didn't have the best qualifying. I think they were down in 14th and 15th. And as I say
Oh no, that's Alonso. That's
looked
Alonso.
to be a breakdown for Alonso, but it seemed that the car is seized and is put himself into the barriers. I was just about to say how they'd had a pretty poor qualifying, and that Marcello had already managed to pull his way up to 7th position from, I think it was 14th place.
Indeed. And apparently they've also got poor reliability, but that's what you kind of expect with a Lotus, don't you?
Well, you know, the age-old saying, lots of trouble, usually serious, and it's proven itself there.
Yep, I don't think the experimental baguette engines won't help the fact either.
Yeah, you know, the baguette was in the oven a bit too long there.
Yeah, might need a bit more juice next time.
Indeed. But there's still one left going in Raffaele Marcello, who's chasing down Sebastian Vettel right now. So still, the fastest car in the speed trap was Lando Norris prior to his breakdown.
How fast was it? Was it 298 or?
I think it was 280 for, I think, if I saw that correctly.
In that section.
Yeah, in that section, yeah. And that is...
Slight lockup from I assume, pretty pissed off Christensen.
Indeed, Christensen, after having, well, he had a little bit of an incident earlier, coming back through. And he's in turn chasing down the remaining McLaren.
Yep, the same guy who caused this demise in the first place.
Indeed, and well, obviously they've pulled one. They've managed to pick up one position because Rosenquist had his failure earlier and is in the pit, so they're not the two last cars circling at the moment.
Slightly closer to Cassidy. And then there's a bit further back, there's Hamilton. I think it is the reverse race, so to say, as Magnussen is going slowly there.
I think he just got overtaken by. I didn't quite catch who managed to go through there, but they came rocking through. No, he is going slow. He is going slow because. Van Gisbergen's just managed to breeze past, and
there goes the end. It's quiet.
Yeah, engine's gone, and that's another
Really
French power. Yeah, it's really gone. I think certain someone will be saying they've elected a new pope.
Yeah. Well, that's what is this? 1974. That joke was stated long ago.
But yeah, another French-powered car breaking down within a few laps of each other.
Again, what do you think about they are the Renault Works outfit, but they are Renault Microprose, as we hear Bruce and Chris also touching the wall, like if this was IndyCar or something, Indy 500 or something. But yeah, what I was saying is that why do you think they were gonna run it with Microprose engines? They would run this outfit.
Well, you know, the cost of living crisis and everything, they couldn't afford to produce their own engines, so they decided to keep last year's engines and run them for another season, just to save a little bit of extra pennies.
You are indeed correct in that now. Also, there is quite, let's say, subpar, or like suboptimal.
Indeed.
Oh jeez, Hackett moving the speed track with that massive, big-ass Mercedes engine in back of the Minardi.
Indeed, and obviously Hakkinen, used to that. The Mercedes power unit. He's spent all his years at McLaren with Mercedes power, apart from the 93 seat. Well, I say that he had a couple of painful years with Peugeot.
Right.
Or a painful year with Peugeot. If you remember correctly, I always like to point out the beginning of the 94 British Grand Prix with Martin Brundle's engine going bang.
Well, it looks like we hit the first pit cycle. With both Marcello and Cassidy going into the pit, but Oscar is staying out?
So this could be interesting. We'll have to see how long Piastri stays out for.
I think he has another 10 laps to go if he want to make a one-stop. Oh, did I read it wrong? He was coming into the pits?
Quite possibly. I was going to say Cassidy's still out. It didn't show that he'd gone into the pit lane.
Oh, no, I was reading it right.
I saw it looked to be that there was actually it did look as though one of the Jordans has pitted. So Cassidy is still out on track. It was Jordan, one of the Jordans, and it was Marcello also who has gone in.
Oh yeah, it was the other Jordan.
Oh.
Contact between Porsche and Chris again at the same corner. He was caught. He's really unlucky now. 2 times.
Indeed, and again, Porsche having another look into the chicane. Nothing there. There's a car pitting just then.
Well, that turn that Christensen? Oh, that's Russell.
Russell. So Russell's going to try the undercut on Cassidy now.
Interesting, as we see Christensen's getting sworn by someone else. Also the chances he takes.
So Pourchaire's gone through. Hackenen's into the pits as well.
Well, Pourchaire isn't pitting, but the other EAR is. As we see Marcello come to overtake Christensen.
So I believe actually Pourchaire is pitted. So he's that was his outlap, and it just so happened they've both pitted at the wrong time.
Oh, here's another quick. Yeah, it's from replay earlier. Yeah, it's just a classic oil leak. Oh, merda.
And Marcello still stuck behind the Brabham of Christensen, so not the best pit strategy from the Lotus team.
No, not at all. I wonder if he will be sacked. If anyone will be.
I'd probably sack the manager. I don't know who he is though.
You don't have a clue who your own team is.
Well,
As you see, Luke Cage just hanging at the back of the car.
Leclerc, who's recovering, and that's up the inside for PK on Leclerc. As we look at Hamilton, who's running in the Sauber.
I think they actually got their engines from Jordan.
Oh, and
Was that Russell running wide?
That was Russell running wide. So Russell's overcooked it into turn 1 to try and pass the 2. That was at the end of his outlap. Meanwhile, Marcello's still stuck behind the Brabham. He's going up the inside into turn 1. And he makes it stick, unlike Russell.
Oh yeah. No, he overdrawn it, but again, that outlet should have been more than enough to warm up the tires. And there is something that problems with tire heating. Vettel attacking to last one in McLaren and getting swamped by a Brabham.
Indeed, so that's Vettel trying to get past Leclerc as we look to Oscar Piastri. So he hasn't pitted yet.
And he still hasn't pitted.
Meanwhile, we got the Brabham trying up the inside. And that's Hill. That's Hill slowing. And he's not far away from the pits either, but unable to make it all the way back to the pits. So that is hard luck for Damon Hill.
Very. Oh, I love the transmission there. The attrition rate isn't that high yet.
But now you've said it. Meanwhile, the last remaining Onyx is Piastri, who's currently leading right now. So he might start to be getting a little worried after seeing that. As we see up the inside, one of the Renaults on the Brabham, and he's gone back through. That's us. PK.
VK, not PK. It's VK, not PK.
Oh, VK.
Close enough. And he almost gets swamped by Schumacher, I believe. Or is that? No. That's Mr. Trump. Okay, one of the Brabhams. As Piastri just keeps on stumbling along in the same pace. No contact between Christensen and Christensen.
Who'd have thought into the same corner? That's 3 times now that there's been contact.
This is getting ridiculous.
Meanwhile, we look to Sebastian Vettel, who's trying to go up the inside of. So Schumacher's managed to get through off Vettel, and Vettel's trying to get his way back past. But up the inside, someone was up the inside then, but we now cut away back to our leader. Meanwhile, Hamilton having a lock up. He will be certainly saying Bono Matthias at that point.
Yep. For sure. I'm glad he's running his old GP2, you know, helmet he used, or like his early years helmet.
Indeed, and he's got something written on the top of the helmet. I couldn't quite see what it is.
Me neither, but it was something with B-O-N-O. I didn't see a two-way passing by as he hits to Marcello walking up.
Yeah, and he's actually putting a wheel on the grass there, so that's could have been scary stuff. His teammate Alonso didn't have the greatest of experiences at that corner a few years ago.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm surprised he managed to keep it in a straight line.
But hunting down one of the Simtex ahead.
Oh,
and that's contact there between the Renault.
Verstappen.
Oh, so that's VK and Verstappen.
Yeah, and now he's got Schumacher and Vettel as a swarm of other cars out behind him. And now Cassidy is going to pit.
So Cassidy, who we thought had pitted earlier, is now finally pitting. And there's now a swarm of cars building up behind Schumacher, the 7-time world champion.
There's a bit of a train going on behind Verstappen.
Indeed.
This is very uncharacteristic, isn't it?
There's quite a few world titles in one picture right there.
Oh, indeed. As we see, he's making a move. Not quite. Sucks behind, but the car behind him is making a move. And he makes the stick.
Yeah, that's one of the Simtex coming through. Oh yeah, so that's Vettel holding off one of the BARs actually.
Yeah. As we see Michael trying to make a late dive, and he makes it stick. Two drivers with similar driving styles. Of course they would be quite even on the I think.
Indeed, and actually Schumacher's managed to sprint away in a couple of corners there.
Yeah, there's definitely a problem with just running an alternate strategy.
Potentially, as there's a battle going away here with Marcello.
And Minardis.
Yeah, indeed, one of the Minardis there. So it's Marcello and Mika Hakkinen, so... And Pourchaire's managed to get through on Vettel, so Pourchaire now chasing down on Max Verstappen, but still got Vettel for company.
Yep. F2 champion now?
Indeed, and he's on his way to Super Formula, I believe, next season. But he's decided to dabble with this as he tries up the inside into turn 1. Indeed, very opportunistic from Vettel, seeing if he could pick up the pieces.
Indeed.
And it's still looking around the outside. Now, and there's contact between the two of them.
This corner is cursed.
Indeed, so that means Pourchaire is off. You can see the yellow flags are out.
I think it's stalled.
And defending it up the inside goes Hakkinen on Raffaele Marcello. So Hakkinen's now on the back of Vettel, who is now on the back of Verstappen. He's swarming all over the back of Verstappen. Verstappen is really struggling here.
Yeah, so uncharacteristic like considering how last season went.
Well, yeah, he's won 3 world titles on the bout. To the inside again comes Hakkinen. So where has this form suddenly come from Hakkinen? He's kind of just been biding his time at the back of this group, and now he's picked off 2 people in the space of half a lap.
Keep in mind, these are not like lowly rated drivers either. It's not a paid driver directly.
I mean, it's not as if Hakkinen's won 2 world titles or anything.
Oh no, especially not in this type of era of cars, as he forces Verstappen to go defensive.
Indeed, and at the same time, again, Vettel was having a look at the inside, so it's pass will be pass stuff here is coming up into the next 3rd corner. He's up the inside of Verstappen, he pulls it off.
Very well moved, but he makes it stick. And the Vectra still got it. They're all flying through.
Indeed, and now Verstappen's got another world of pain. He's got Vettel up the inside, he's going around the outside. Round the outside goes Sebastian Vettel and Max Verstappen, and now he's got Raffaele Marcello to deal with. This is a world of pain for Max Verstappen.
I wonder what Joss will tell him after the race.
He's definitely going to be walking home after this.
Oh yeah. Well, after leaving him at the closest, what's it called?
Fuel station?
Yeah.
Yep.
The petrol station. Sorry, but you did not design this car.
So, meanwhile, we are looking at his teammate in Van Gisbergen. Now, Van Gisbergen, used to this circuit, he's raced this circuit a few times in V8 Supercars. Currently set in 6th position, so good showing from Van Gisbergen.
Oh yeah, that is something. Sure, he knows this track better than Verstappen, unsurprisingly, but he has no experience to. Well, he has some experience to open wheel racing, but not as much as Verstappen, to my knowledge. As you see, Raikkonen trying to make a move on one of the Jordan's.
Indeed, and surprisingly, Rosenquist has managed to come back through to 15th after his issues earlier.
Okay, could this be the comeback Jordan has been waiting for?
Probably not.
Probably not. I don't know, maybe need a few, more, what do you call, like, I don't know, I lost one.
A few more races at the side, and
But Shelly tried punted Verstappen, I believe.
it looked very much like moving under the braking for Verstappen just then. A bit of desperation, and Marcello getting frustrated. He feels that he's definitely got the pace over Verstappen there.
Yeah, well, of course he is say that any other driver is moving under the brake except when Marcello would have done it in the same position. As we see him being chased by Captain.
Exactly. So again, Marcello is going to have to get this move on Verstappen done as soon as possible, else he's going to find Ward's going to be having to go into turn 1.
He's trying to both break the toe and trying to get out of the slipstream. Oh, he's forward super pencil and he's completely overshot as the TV director fucks us over again. And let's have a replay of earlier. Oh wow, yeah, that's the third time. Oh, he spun after the contact between him and Chris. Like, it was a pretty spun after contact with Chris and like that. As we see another replay of Verstappen getting. Oh, yeah.
Punted by one of the Renaults. That's earlier on. Yeah.
The second time he got punted now.
Indeed. So, meanwhile, back at the ranch, looking again to, I think that was Van Gisbergen under pressure by one of the Brabhams.
Get this, Hamilton's back leading. I haven't heard that in a long while.
Yep, it's been a while since he's been doing that, and I don't think he's actually pitted yet, so I believe he's going on a one-stop strategy.
Michael making a move on this.
Schumacher up the inside. Gisbergen shows him the wall.
Yep, but not quite.
And Gisbergen holds on again as we look to our leader, Lewis Hamilton. And again, Schumacher's having a look at the inside of Van Gisbergen into them 3, and he goes through.
No contact there, surprisingly, considering his previous record, but... Oh.
It's early. It is early doors for Schumacher. I mean, we'll wait until it's the last couple of races of the season for that sort of stuff.
Oh yes, but, oh yeah, true. Then we might see some interesting tactics, my friend.
Indeed, as we look to Vettel in 10th position, obviously a little bit of a lock-up. Really gapped award, obviously Marcello and Verstappen having their coming together earlier has spaced things out a bit.
Indeed. One knows something. I've heard that there's been some discussions of, oh, they shouldn't run a British the VAR. Right, well, they are promoting the triple fine. How would I say this?
Well, it's you got most of the teams here are running some form of tobacco sponsorship. You've got Buzzing Hornets, which is Benson and Hedges on the.
An alternative variant to whatever Vettel is doing with the B thingy.
That could be a thing, but I mean, Vettel's running in a different team altogether, so. I think it was a Renault.
Renault VK.
As we look to Schumacher now having a bit of a lock-up.
It's his first time, back since, what is it, 2012, 2013?
Yeah, 2012 is his last season in Formula 1.
And he's still, showed that the Michael still got it.
Indeed, as looking at past as one of the that was one of the Jordans going past the Minardi. Rosenquist through on Raikkonen, so more battles for position there as we look to. Well, I think it was still showing that Hamilton's leading, was it not? Jordan. Okay, so Russell now leading. Obviously had his moment earlier going straight on into the turn 1, but he's managed to recover back into the lead.
Little three-way scrap for 16th place.
I believe it's 15th, 16th, and 17th.
We shouldn't always look, what the front runners are doing. We should always look for the entire field, what they are doing.
Indeed, and what's happened to Piastri out of all this? Obviously, Piastri was leading Grand Prix before the pit cycle.
Yeah, I think he's behind the other front runners of Cassidy and Russell. But
Russell went up the inside. That's Raikkonen, and he's somehow kept it on the tarmac. I was 100% sure that was going into the gravel then, but somehow he held on. This is Sebastian Loeb under pressure from, I think that was one of the Onyxes.
Well, there is only one Onyx left running.
So that was Piastri, I'm assuming, if what I saw was correct.
Yep. The nine-time former nine-time WRC champion.
Indeed, and Vettel's managed to make a position up, I think, through another person making a pit stop. And up the inside is Theo Pourchaire on one of the Minardis.
Is it Hakkinen?
Indeed, it could be Hakkinen as they now chase down the Jordan as we look back. So Piastri running in third position. So it's all kind of changed around really with the pit stops. So Cassidy still stayed in second position, but George Russell's managed to leapfrog the pair of them and take the lead. And yeah, Piastri, after having a lead of, what was it, over 3 seconds, is now running in third place.
But he picked that way later, so I think he's going for one stop. The others needed to pit at least once more.
Porsche back under pressure from what looks to be Raikkonen in the Minardi. Raikkonen not able to perform the same move as he did earlier.
I think he just didn't care of going for it this time. You know, the ice, the Iceman and everything.
He looked at it and just went, "Boah."
Yeah, pretty much. It's just striking and stuff.
Yeah, and exiting the pit's just up ahead, so there's back markers that Russell is going to have to deal with whilst he has Cassidy chasing him down.
Past the halfway point a bit. A couple of laps ago, but pretty much halfway.
Well, with half the race gone, there's still half the race left to go.
Exactly, as we see, Vettel getting attacked by one of the Sauber's.
That looks to be Hamilton. So Vettel versus Hamilton. One of those rival. Well, it was a rivalry, but there wasn't much animosity between them. But still, it was one of those rivalries that we definitely enjoyed during the past 10 years.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
Loeb locking up and going off track.
Oh, what happened? Did he? Oh, he's kept going. I thought he had to retire.
I don't know what happened there, just completely got it wrong. I think it was almost as if he'd broke for the corner, but then forgot to change down gears. It was in totally the wrong gear coming out of the gravel track.
Maybe it started to develop a slight contact between Gisbergen and one of the VARs. But yeah, like you were saying, he forgot to, change down a gear, or maybe it didn't go into, gear.
Indeed, so there could be potential issues for Loeb.
Indeed. Or maybe he was just missing the feel of, gravel.
Indeed, he's more acclimatized to gravel, as up the inside that's Van Gisbergen on Porsche.
That's a very opportunistic move.
Yeah, Porsche caught napping a bit there as we go to Cassidy, who's hunting down our leader of George Russell. That's Yellow going, struggling on the brakes into turn 3. He's got Charles Leclerc, the remaining, it's the solo remaining Lotus and the solo remaining McLaren together on circuit. This is the last points paying position in 10th position.
For sure.
So it'd be interesting to see what sort of lap times Piastri will be churning out in comparison to the two ahead. Obviously, Piastri going with that one-stop strategy. We've already seen Rosenqvist. Now, I don't know if Rosenqvist was due to be on a one-stop strategy, but obviously had to pit early on as a result of whatever mechanical gremlins or technical gremlins he had earlier. So he's done his second stop, which is why he's down in 18th. And Actually, Schumacher has been through that second sector. He's had the fastest speed trap, so taken that away from Lando Norris, who, for those of you who've recently tuned in, was leading this Grand Prix towards the start of it.
Yep, and became sadly the first driver who retired due to an engine issue.
Yeah, it was engine failure for Norris in his McLaren.
Not as spectacular as the Microprose engine, which happened later. But...
Yes, that definitely gave up the ghost and turned itself into a bonfire. So yeah, barbecues at Renault later, as we are on board with Sebastian Loeb, who's managed to recover from his off-track excursion a couple of laps ago, and he seems to be running okay for the time being.
I think, as the graphics said, Russell is pitting. That promotes Piastri back into second place.
Yes, it does. Cassidy is now our new leader, as we look to Leclerc having a slight struggle for adhesion into the third to last corner, as he continues to hunt down the Lotus for the final points paying position.
You see how he's moving like back and forth on that straight. I think he's causing some kind of tire issue.
Well, obviously he did have a couple of he had the incident earlier, so I don't know if he's got some minor suspension damage. So the steering might not be 100% straight.
Oh no, yeah, that's true.
But Leclerc soldiering on as Porsche pits from 15th position. Now on board with George Russell, who's currently on the outlap. And obviously, well, Russell's actually managed to pit and still come out in third position, such as the dominance of, or the sheer speed he's had in this race compared to the rest of the field.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And it's the two Minardis together on the circuit, so that is Raikkonen and Hakkinen, the two Finnish drivers.
Yes.
They haven't finished yet, so there's still a few laps to go.
The Finns hasn't finished. Oh god. Alright, just Strayan. He's falling down, but maybe that's because he had to pit. Very strict.
And as we can see on fresh tyres, the gap, not that there was any sort of worry for Russell, the gap is going out between himself and VK.
But as VK stopped,
Well, VK I think is still on older tyres, so Russell on the fresh tyres, and generally has been quicker this all race. You'd expect to see the gap going out as we look to Piastri, who's effectively going to be our new race leader, unless has Cassidy pitted yet?
no, I think he has to pit in a few laps. Yeah. Oh, Raikkonen making a move on his teammate. No! Vice versa, Hakkinen is making a move on his teammate. As we see, also get the information that VK is in the pits, and that's Hamilton going off.
Hamilton's off, and is that him out of the race, or is he just trying to rejoin?
I think he's trying
He's trying to rejoin. Yeah, he's trying to rejoin, and this is
Oh no.
not good for Hamilton as he tumbles down the order. In fact, Loeb's just taken a position from him now, so we're not going to be happy with that. Then you've got the two Finns in the Mardis coming through.
When will he go?
And there looks to be a gap now. He's going very slowly, and that's going to be Hamilton now out the points, I believe now.
Pretty much so.
So we look to Cassidy, who's now our new race leader. I say new race leader, he's been the leader for the last few laps actually, but still yet to stop for the second time. Piastri's on fresher rubber, but as you can see,
that's a long way to go.
A long way to go, and George Russell is going to be making inroads on those fresher tyres, but obviously when the two ahead pit, they will be on the fresher rubber, so it's going to be interesting to see how Russell handles the latter stages of the race with those tyres.
Indeed,
So Vettel pits from 6th position. Marcello is also in from 7th position. So we should expect to see Cassidy in sometime soon. And into the pits comes Cassidy from the lead. I assume, as we look to the sole remaining Onyx, so that's got to be Oscar Piastri. I assume Piastri is going to be going on for another few laps.
I believe so too. And if not, do you think he can make it on that one stop?
It's a tall order, and obviously seeing the pace that George Russell has, he's closing quite a lot on these two. It'll be interesting to see where Cassidy comes out in comparison to George Russell. As Russell goes through, that demotes Cassidy to 3rd position. Meanwhile, we look to Felix Rosenqvist having a lock-up down in 17th position.
Some teams have like one driver that's high up in the order and the other is either out or far back.
Obviously, Rosenqvist had those technical issues towards the start of the race, which saw him drop to the back of the field and then have to take a pit stop as a result of it. So Rosenqvist has already completed 2 pit stops this race. So it'd be interesting to have seen where he would have actually ended up had he not had those early technical gremlins.
Oh, will they change into maybe a police stopper to do
Yeah, I mean, the way it is at the moment, down in 17th, he's in a world of pain. I can't see him challenging for the points myself unless we have a sudden rapid decline in everyone else on the track.
Just like in San Marino 82 or 84 when everyone ran out of fuel?
Yep. I get that mixed up. It was either 85 or 86, one of those two. Yep. So not fun day at the races for Rosenqvist, and I'm pretty sure he can't wait for the end of this.
Oh yeah, for sure. I can feel his pain with fellow Shield. As we would have said it ourselves. That fucking det här suger. This sucks.
Yep.
As we see, George Russell is trying to hunt down Piastri. He's who was last lap 8.5 seconds ahead.
As we see that's Pato Award overtaking Leclerc.
It's all good, and now Leclerc gets a poor run and will probably get swamped by the other car. I think it was
The Lotus of Marcello. Here's Schumacher having a lock up into the chicane.
Yep. But still, the run at 3 and 4.
Yeah, I believe he hasn't. He hasn't stopped for the second time yet, though, has he? Unless he's going for a one stop.
No, for sure.
So we got Sebastian Loeb in 5th. I mean, who'd have thought, given the strength of the field, that we'd be saying Sebastian Loeb's in 5th? As up the inside is Raffaele Marcello on Leclerc. Well, it started well, and progressively has got worse, as you say.
Yeah. George Russell has now caught up with a whole second. Yes, caught up with that entire second.
Yeah, to Piastri, but in the background you've got Cassidy on those newer tyres, who's looks like he's got the pace and is closing the gap down.
Can't pass Piastri, it might hold him up enough to ruin both of their races.
Indeed, and we might see. Well, we're not entirely sure yet if Piastri on a one-stop strategy, or is he going to be pitting within the next couple of laps?
That's a good question. I don't know if it's too late to go for a two-stop. Not. Is
Vettel on the back of Van Gisbergen, I believe.
Yeah, with a slight lock up there.
Who is in turn on the back of what looks to be the other Jordan, so that's...
That's a Renault.
Oh, it might be a Renault.
Another second caught up. He's really he's really reeling Piastri in. Language is hard.
As we look to Max Verstappen, we haven't really seen much from him since we saw how do you put it? The chaotic kerfuffle of the racing going on earlier, where he was effectively a moving roadblock, but not going particularly well for the 3-time world champion.
Oh, absolutely not. And at this rate, he will not only lose, the ride back home to his home, he might also lose a certain PK in the process.
Depends if someone steals his drive,
Oh yeah, true. True.
But looking at, that was Vettel on the back end of Van Gisbergen.
Yep. He was trying to make a move, it feels like it was a 50-50 without a mistake, huh?
Indeed, as we are currently on board with third place car Cassidy.
So far, reliability has been, considering I think we're starting to hit the end of the race. It hasn't been that high of an, attrition rate.
Yeah, the attrition rate earlier in the race was actually higher than it has been. We haven't really had much in terms of retirements as we look to Van Gisbergen being overtaken by Vettel into turn 1, and Vettel's gone off they've both gone off into turn 1, and they collide.
Oh wow,
That was
interesting.
Definitely, definitely a clumsy moment there for Vettel. I wonder how these stewards are going to look at that. Stewards? What stewards?
That's not my problem. That's problems for the organizers. As we look at Lanterboy, we can hear the engine of Piastri starting to, emerge on this footage, I guess.
Indeed, yeah. And so again, the top three, for a moment there, the top three were all within the same camera shot. So we look to Hamilton, who is under pressure or has just made a move, actually, I think. On one of the BARs. Actually, he's made up quite a few positions because obviously we saw Hamilton had his spin earlier and he's managed to get back through on the Lotus. He went through on the VAR, but the AR was just having a look through as we cut back to Piastri, who is being hunted down by George Russell. Is Piastri going to be yet again denied his first victory?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm wondering if he's just, nursing the tires and
up the inside goes one of the BARs on Hamilton. Yep, Award. Yeah. So Plateau Award takes 10th position and the final point in the point standings.
I know there's a bit of a gap to, first, second, third, but so far, none of the drivers has been left. As we see Charles slowing down. Oh, that's a disaster for McLaren.
Disaster for McLaren, and yeah, back to the drawing board it seems for the team. Obviously, as you said, they didn't have the most ideal testing scenario, and it's a transmission issue. So we had an engine failure and a transmission failure for McLaren, and they'll be packing up early and off to the next race,
which will be in Brazil. At the famous Interlagos circuit.
Indeed, a high altitude circuit, so reliability could be another issue there.
And because of how the weather is in South America, maybe even some rain.
Well, you just never know how it's going to come in over in Interlagos. Basically had every form of weather there apart from snow.
Yet. Oh, just wait for it. One day it will be snowing in Brazil. Well, to be fair, they already have snow, but it's how would I say this? It's not the snow you think about. That's from the As we see Russell being just less than a second behind of Piastri, and Marcelo failing a move on Hamilton.
Yep. So Hamilton really struggling, obviously, as a result. Potentially, done damage to the tyres, and Marcello's at the inside again, but that's not going to happen there. But he's going to have a good run out of the chicane down to the right-hand corner, and he's backed off, but he's going to start lining himself up for a move into turn one. That would be the next overtaking opportunity. Hamilton really on the defensive there.
Yeah. He might have learned a thing or two since, was it Hungary a couple of years ago?
Obviously had the Fernando Alonso masterclass in defense.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of a lock up there from Christensen, who's catching up onto the back of the two ahead, which is Hamilton and Yellow. And that's actually Max Verstappen closing on this group as well behind.
Oh, what's the Piastri's second now? He must have been on the
Wait, he must have made a mistake somewhere because he's dropped considerably off the back of.
Yeah. And of course the cameras didn't pick that up. Classic. And now we have Cassidy just breathing down his neck.
Indeed, and yeah, it's really not gone well. Piastri not on the best strategy. That one-stop strategy really has not worked for the Onyx team, and wow, I think third place is going to be the best Piastri can do now, as I'm pretty sure Cassidy is going to be through sometime soon. Yeah, and Russell's has shown that he's had the pace all race pretty much, and so it's providing everything carries on going well. No technical gremlins up the road. I think it's going to be easy pickings as through goes Christensen on Hamilton. I think that was. So at some point, Marcello got through on Hamilton, and Christian's just got through on Hamilton, and then so now on the road it's Hamilton versus Verstappen.
Oh dear.
And Cassidy still can't get through on Piastri.
This is a brilliant defending from this young Aussie at his home Grand Prix.
Indeed. Obviously he's not going to be happy that he's missed out on what could have been an easy win if they had gone on that, opted for the two-stop strategy.
No, for sure. Hey, he's racing. It's a gamble that didn't pay off. Oh, there's contact between Cassidy and Piastri.
Cassidy's just coming back on the track now, so still keeping that third position. I don't know. I'm not sure how long's left in the race.
I would be very surprised if he managed somehow to catch up back to Piastri. Again, that's another incident that is it turn 8?
Yeah, as we see VK having a lock up into the same corner. Yeah. For a moment then, I thought you said late lunch, but
I did. I correct myself. He's let's see. He's around 4.5 seconds behind Piastri, so it's not all over yet. I think he could still, go back for the second place.
Indeed, and obviously Piastri is struggling on those old tyres. Cassidy, although with this setback, is on far fresher tyres than Piastri.
Sure. Unless he picked up some, debris from the off.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some gravel in amongst those radiators as we look to Raikkonen up the inside of Hamilton right now. So Raikkonen's managed to get past on Verstappen, and he's having a go on Hamilton. Not quite committed enough into turn 1 to get the job done.
Right. To my knowledge, no one has been lapped yet, which is surprising.
No, because I think basically, well, I think there's the drivers who have been lapped have managed to get the lap back through the pit cycle.
As we see Raikkonen trying to go around the outside but fails, and now he lost all momentum.
Indeed, and this has allowed Verstappen to get onto the back of him now.
3 seconds between Piastri and that's Hakkinen.
That's Hakkinen. So Hakkinen has gone out of 6th position.
I think he's retiring.
Yeah, that is, and so close to the pits as well. So out of the race.
Another
Transmission problem. Yeah, so the transmissions aren't really holding up well at this first race of the season.
There are always going to be some technical differences.
Indeed, that's Marcello off. So Marcello has gone off.
I don't know what happened to him. Did he beat himself in the curb, or?
Well, I wonder. We'll have to see if there's a replay somewhere of that, because he either got it all wrong himself or was punted. This is VK in the Renault, who's not quite sure what position he's running in at the moment, but then we have up the side is, yeah, so in the meantime, Christensen's actually now gone up into the lead. Sorry, not the lead, into the points as a result of retirement. So the seasoned Dane is still got it left, still got some fight left.
Multiple times, for 24 hours and won multiple of them, I think he's got, he's not he's a tough nut to crack, if that's the correct saying.
We look Raikkonen trying to find a way past Verstappen, and Verstappen's making that Tyrrell as wide as he possibly can, as he has done for most of this race.
Himself.
Well, I think himself and his machinery will be the only thing that will challenge him. And Cassidy still stuck behind Piastri.
This might be his opportunity. It's not that much longer left of the race. Is he gonna go for it? Only 4 laps left. What has happened? We need to know as we see Max Verstappen locking up.
Verstappen's holding on to Raikkonen. In fact, I don't know if there's contact into that corner. You can still hear the engine note of the car behind, so potentially Raikkonen's still there.
Weaving a bit, trying to find even the tiniest of gaps to go through.
So Piastri still holds on to that second position. Meanwhile, we look at Verstappen, who's forming a bit of a train, as he did earlier in this Grand Prix. Indeed, and Raikkonen having a look, but that Tyrrell's got some decent straight line speed.
Yep. I was still surprised how Piastri did not get overtaken.
Meanwhile, still, Verstappen holds on to that 12th position. I mean, this is quite a fight for a position that doesn't involve any points.
No, but it's still great to see
and that definitely looked like there was some form of moving under braking. And by the look of by the fact that the green flag marshal came out, suggests that Raikkonen is now stuck in the gravel trap as a result of that.
I'm pretty sure he will hit Verstappen when he sees him in the paddock later on, but we can only speculate.
So now we're looking at Porsche and Rosenquist. So Rosenquist has gone through on sorry, not the second, on Raikkonen as a result of that incident. Indeed, obviously had a few race wins in Formula E, 2 times a winner at Macau. So the accolades are there for Rosenquist.
And if you could pick between Rosenquist and Marcus Ericsson, who would you have picked? Like, who would you pick?
Well, I've always followed Rosenquist, and I felt like Rosenquist in his earlier career and his junior career showed the most potential. And again, Verstappen looked as though he weaved under the brakes, and as a result, we have Porsche now off into the gravel.
What's the counter of the incident? What's the incident counter of that corner now?
I've run out of fingers.
Start with the toes now.
I think I'll be running out of them soon as well. And that is a proper dummy from VK, but it doesn't quite work out. That's an attempted overtake on one of the Saubers. I don't think it was Hamilton.
No, it must have been Loeb. And as we see, yeah, Piastri finally did get overtaken by Cassidy.
I think Piastri's safe in that third position now, as we can't really see anyone for some time. And
got some debate now, I see. As we take a look at the replay, let's see if he really moved on the brake.
yeah, that looked like a move to me.
I would say it's more of a squeeze, but if it's a move, we'll debate. The stewards will debate about that. Vincent described with his driving antics again. It's not the first time he's, being called out for that.
No, throughout his junior career, junior career and early years in Formula One, his argument is that when you're in less competitive machinery, you've got to throw every risk, because this looks like Hamilton coming to a stop.
Yeah, it looks like... Oh, is that another transmissions failure?
Yeah, I don't see any smoke, so it would make sense.
There's only one lap left, I just realized. Holy shit. Time really flies by.
Yeah, so... Oh, and has Loeb got an issue? Because unless he's made a mistake, Vettel's just moved up on Loeb.
Yeah. Oh,
Suspension.
That's interesting.
So I assume that he's potentially glanced the wall, as we have seen some people do already in this race, and he's just glanced it a bit too hard compared to the others.
Russell is on the final lap. How do you feel the race has been?
Well, there's definitely been a lot of excitement throughout the race. We've had, we've had 5 different race leaders. So, all in all, definitely. When was the last time we said we've had 5 different race leaders in a Grand Prix?
Yeah, that is a good question.
But we look to George Russell, who's only got half a lap left to go. Does really well. Came from nowhere. He's had the pace. You know, he was running in 4th and 5th position in the early part of the race, and he's just ran the right strategy.
As we see, that will make a very great and daring dive off at last lap for that top 5 finish.
Yeah.
Cintiq has really gotten a good start, haven't they?
Indeed, and they really have got some pace behind that car. He's really cleared off up the road. Good few seconds from Cassidy, but out the final corner.
For the final time, here it is. Another Grand Prix win for Verstappen. As we see Gisbergen retiring on the last lap. No! Oh, that is such a shame.
Such a shame, and yeah, I think that's going to be because Verstappen was out of the points. There's another transmission failure, so that's going to be no points, I believe, for the Tyrrell team.
No, for sure.
Oscar Piastri finishes 3rd. Not the race that he wanted. Obviously, led the race for a period of time. But the strategy just wasn't right. They went for that one. They gambled on the one-stop strategy, and it really did not pay off. Cassidy, another strong drive, finishing 2nd position on his Formula 1 debut for the Jordan team.
Yeah.
But here is your winner.
In the Cintiq team. Only took them, what, 30 years?
Indeed, obviously they had they've had some success as well in the other championship with that's ran by Scott Woodward.
Oh yeah, that is true. There's finishing a top 11.
Yeah, managed to recover after a little bit after whatever it was that incident towards the end of the race was, and that is race over.
So there's your finalized finish, and let's look at it again. So we have only one got left. Well, classified finisher, I'd say, but most of the runners did stay on the lap. Russell, Cassidy, Piastri, Schumacher, Vettel, VK, Loeb, Award, Christensen, and Verstappen finish up the top 10.
So Tyrrell did manage to get a point in the end.
Yeah, barely. Only 2 seconds separated, but look at that. 13 seconds clear from Cassidy. That is quite a margin.
Indeed, and only 13 cars actually crossing the line for the finish. The rest all out, although Porsche, I don't remember Porsche. I think Porsche actually was just a lap down, wasn't he? I don't think he...
Wow, so Porsche were the only guy who got lapped. That's tragic. But then we have 4 transmission failures, 2 engine related and 1 suspension, with Lewis Hamilton suffering from, well...
A suspension failure, yeah.
Oh, right. I don't have any point system.
Ya abrí el restaurante que era el arroz. Y me llama el cocinero. Risita, ¿qué? Ve por la paellera. Venga, que las 2 de la tarde ya están aquí. Miren, bañador. En las chanclas. Todo despeinado porque no me dio tiempo nada ponerme las chanclas y el bañador. Voy a la playa, había subido la marea. Jesús. Jesús. Había subido la marea y encontré una paella. Jesús. Y la encontré porque te estaba estaba la paellera agarrada, metida entre las piedras de Chipiona, del faro. Y cuando entro en el restaurante me ve el cocinero con una paellera y a ver la vez de paellera. ¡Asómate, mira dónde llega el agua! Llegaba el agua hasta el restaurante. Había subido la marea. Jesús, ¿qué hacemos ahora con los dos sacos de arroz? El cocinero, no vea, para Sevilla. Y al último, que cuando ya salió la bien de regla, estamos llorando los dos. Me cobró el tío la... Me cobró a 500 metros. Y ya no fui más. Me fui andando a coger los amarillos hasta hoy. Me mandó por la noche, había bajado más el agua y por la mañana había subido. Cualquiera estaba donde está la paellera, ¿sabes? A lo mejor está en el barco ese del petróleo.
En el Prestige.